Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's time to talk about 2005 and the year-end charts of Billboard in 2005, that is. This is the 6th episode in this series that I'm doing on my channel where I rank songs from every single year from 2000 up until today. And yeah, I've done 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, and of course today it's 2005. It's been a really fun journey for me so far to really just revisit all of these old songs and talk about them really. And today I'm looking forward to talking about a few of these as well. I'll just be honest here very early on and say that this is not really the strongest of the years I've talked about so far. I don't think it's the worst either. But I've had two standout years, of course, that I've talked about so far. And if you want to figure out what those are, I hope you check out those videos, because these are, of course, all placed in a playlist. They are the most recent video uploads on my channel, so they're very easy to just watch as well. Anyway, I shouldn't ramble too much. I always do that for far too long, but today I'll get right into it. I'm starting with the song that ranked number 20 on the year-end charts of Billboard in 2005, which was Beverly Hills by Weezer. Now, this is not really a favorite Weezer track of mine. I do think that they have quite a lot of cool stuff, but Beverly Hills is not really... I think a lot of people who are fans of Weezer are probably not like the biggest fans of this song. This is a proper kind of fun, like dumb fun anthem that I think could be tons of fun when they play it live and you're in the audience and it's just a proper vibe for everyone. I think that absolutely is probably the place where I would really enjoy this song as well, because this kind of chorus that it has, it's rhythmically enhanced by this by the beat during the chorus. It's very effective in that regard, and it's a fun concept of a song. I do think that the hook is obviously very memorable. I think a lot of people just find that to be the selling point of the track, of course, but it is at the same time a bit flat, this song, in my opinion. Not particularly interesting, and I don't really return to it a lot. I'm placing it in the D category because I do think that it's quite an uninteresting piece from a band that could be more complex and interesting than this in Weezer. But I understand why this song is what it is, and I mean, I wouldn't call them sellouts for it. I would just call them like they wanted to make something fun, and damn, it worked. So well done to them. It's in the D tier for me, though. I can enjoy it for somewhat, but not particularly much. I gotta be honest. And that leads me nicely into number 19, which was the song "How We Do" by The Game and 50 Cent. And 50 Cent is going to appear a lot today. I guess this was his year. The Game I'm not overly familiar with, but there's some strong rapping in the song for sure from both of them. I obviously think that this beat is famous, and it's for a good reason. It's very, very memorable. But I mean, like, the hook is kind of just layering on that, and the hook, I kind of consider it to be quite a lazy hook because it's just really like a layer on top, but it is effective in catchiness. They really utilize the beat and tried to hammer that home with just layering the hook on top of it. But it's not a song that sticks with me. I mean, you know me by now. I'm not the biggest fan of hip hop in general. The songs in the hip hop genre really have to stand out for me to click with them. This one doesn't really. There's some solid rapping in here, but it's not really a song that sticks with me. I'm placing this one in the D category as well. And yeah, that's really as generous I can get with a song that I just don't really return to this one either. I gotta be honest. And next up is a song that I absolutely don't want to return to. It's a very famous song, though. It's, of course, the song that really put Rihanna on the map, I suppose. It's called Pon de Replay. I don't know how you want to be... Like, I guess you say Pon de Replay. But anyway, this is... it's a club banger, 2005 style. It's upbeat. It's an upbeat, dance-friendly tune, for sure. It has setbacks, though, at least in my book. It's a constant... unchanging beat that just never stops. The vocals are overly produced as hell in this song. I mean, you don't really need to produce vocals like this when you got Rihanna on the behind the microphone, but I get that it maybe works for the style that this wants to be, but it's pointless to me. It's a song that's repetitive beyond words, and the production is honestly quite mediocre in my book. I get why it's a hit. I mean, it's upbeat, so E, I guess. but it's not enjoyable for me whatsoever. I find this song to be quite pointless, and I don't understand why anyone would seek this one out over so many other more fun dance club songs, really. It's an underwhelming one for me, and I do not enjoy listening to it, so that's that. And next up, more 50 Cent, and it's a rough start, I gotta be honest. This one's called Just a Little Bit, and it's another very, very famous song. The beat is known for being very, very hard-hitting, I suppose, and I do think that the beat in this song is really fun for approximately 10 seconds before you realize that, oh, it's actually gonna be like this for the entire song, and the vocal that's going to be contributing to this track is probably one of the most. It's when 50 Cent sounds at his most uninterested in my book. It sounds like he's almost half asleep rapping on this song, and it's just very, very underwhelming to me. I do not click with this song at all. I think that the hook is melodically awful, doesn't provide anything to the track other than just repetitiveness, and it's a really tough one for me to sit and listen to. Again, it's not my type of music, but I mean, if you know where I placed In the Club from the last video, then you know that I can appreciate some of this. But this one just sounds lazy, uninspired, quite dull in my ears, and I gotta be honest, this is probably an F because it's just that monotonous to me. So yeah, this is not looking good. It's not a strong year so far. However, the very, very famous song Mr. Brightside by The Killers is of course up next, and as I'm sure many other people are, I'm completely obsessed with this song, and that might be, you might be rolling your eyes now and like said, oh, it's just Mr. Brightside. But no, I think that Mr. Brightside is one of the most complete pop rock songs of the 21st century. Absolutely, it's incredibly upbeat and almost uplifting while still carrying so much kind of like a somber emotional tone in the track. I mean, the whole concept of the song is just entirely somber and quite sad. There are a lot of tension in the verses, which I think really hit, and then these choruses really provide that required release that you really want from this song. It's an anthemic tune, absolutely. I'd love to. I haven't seen the Killers live, but I'd love to actually see them and really get completely taken over by when this song starts, because it just hits that hard, I think. It's strikingly memorable both melodically, vocally, and instrumentally. I'd say like this soundscape that this song has, it's just perfect to me. Love the guitar work, love the energy of the track that's so constant. The vocals really just kind of hammer home the tone of it all. And it's an eternal classic for me that simply won't grow old. I've heard this song so many times, and it still just hits. It's an S. It has to be in the S tier. It's among the best in my book, and yeah, I love it. I love it. It's probably a very like predictable choice for a favorite The Killers track, but it's just that good. I can't put it into any other words. It's that anthemic and just packs such a punch. Love the emotional tone in it as well. It feels very vulnerable. It feels very relatable, I suppose. I just think it hits really, really hard. So that's where I'll place it. And next up is Beyoncé, and this is actually Shake It Off by Beyoncé, and not really like one of Beyoncé's strongest hits, but I mean everything Beyoncé put out back then, I suppose, charted really highly. And this is quite a nice listen, I gotta be honest. It's not particularly dynamic nor progressive or anything like that, and it is quite repetitive, like both the beat and the hook returns a lot and doesn't provide a lot of variation. However, the vocal I think is really sweet and effective in this song. She really shines here with her delivery, and I just always enjoy this one when I hear it. So it's a proper kind of cozy earworm. Not groundbreaking or anything, but I think it's a solid tune. I'll place it in the C category because I absolutely do enjoy it when I hear it, even though it is a bit on the repetitive side. But enjoyable tune nonetheless there from Beyoncé. Now next up here is Lose Control by Missy Elliott, Ciara, and Fatman Scoop, which is a song that's absolutely just overblown in energy and a chaotic arrangement. Fatman Scoop comes around with one of the most disturbing and pointless and just distracting and annoying vocal performances of the year, I have to be honest and say. You just, well, I at least just want him to stay quiet throughout this one. He shouts a lot and it doesn't really offer anything of value to this song. It would be high in energy without him, so I don't know what his point is. It's not really a song that I think is massively enjoyable altogether without him either. There are some cool kind of segments throughout this song, but overall I find it to be quite tiresome. Again, it's not really a song I return to. I don't particularly enjoy it. I do appreciate the fact that it's so explosive and intense and chaotic, I suppose, but it's still an E for me. I do probably prefer it slightly over Pon de Replay because I get this one more, but it's still an E for me, so yeah. Next up, really positive about this one actually. It's probably the first Black Eyed Peas song I've talked about actually, and this one is called Don't Funk With My Heart, and this is a really cool song altogether in my opinion. I just love the instrumental of this track. I think it's really fresh. It has a lot of intensity in there. The percussion is tons of fun. A lot of neat little vocal ideas scattered throughout the song as well, and everything comes together really nicely in this one. It's a proper attention grabber and it's highly energetic. I would say that the production sounds a bit poor, like in today's standards. It definitely could have had more of a punch and more clarity back then. But I guess beggars can't be choosers. But really, like, I think the main issue is probably like the compression is so heavy on this instrumental that kind of frequencies tend to clash a little bit on them. But the high energy of the track is superb. I think vocally it's tons of fun with a lot of great rhythmic inputs that contrast each other really nicely. The beat, instant attention grabber really, and it doesn't really let go of its grip on me throughout until it's done. And it's just a song that gets me hyped up every time. So it's an A tier song for me. Nice one from Black Eyed Peas here. They will obviously return quite a few times more in these lists, I suppose. I'm not sure if I will place a lot of their other songs this high, but I think that Don't Funk With My Heart belongs up there for sure. And I actually think it's gonna get some company here because the song You and Me by Lifehouse. Now this, I understand this could be very, very cheesy, but I'm personally very welcoming towards exactly this kind of cheese. It's a very romantic song that kind of perfectly describes the feeling of being almost hopelessly in love, I suppose. It's just that perfect balance of sugary, sweet, proper cheesiness that just for some reason hits. I think it's vocally very sincerely sung. It sounds great in that regard. The soundscape of the song is both lush and rich. The guitar work is absolutely effective. The mixing highlights that. It's just altogether an incredibly sweet song. And this, like, even though it's very inoffensive, I connect with it strongly. And that kind of swaying motion with the rhythms that this one contributes, it's irresistible to me. So yeah, it's A, absolutely. Just love listening to it. It's really warm. I get a lot of warmth from it. So very enjoyable tune, this one, and very pretty altogether. So great stuff there from Lifehouse, actually. I do really like that one. Next up, more 50 Cent, and this one's called Disco Inferno. And yeah, I gotta say, when I go back and listen to all of these lists, I realize I don't know much about 50 Cent, and I hadn't heard a lot of his songs outside of I guess In the Club and maybe a few others. Disco Inferno here is stupidly catchy. The chorus is actually very hard to ignore. I think also this song has a far superior flow compared to the previous 50 Cent songs I've talked about in this list. And it's quite a fun listen, even though I personally wouldn't put this on ever. I think credits where credits due in terms of the catchiness of this song. Again, a beat that's quite a lot of fun, and the vocal is a bit more expressive here, and I do think the rapping is actually quite strong here. So I'm placing this in the C category as well, because I think that, yeah, I just appreciate a bunch of things that this one has going for it, even though it's not my kind of music at all. But yeah, nice one there from 50 Cent, I suppose, compared to the other songs that I've talked about so far. Next up, top 10 coming up next, and Kelly Clarkson is kicking that list off with Behind These Hazel Eyes, and this is a very dramatic tune. If you know me by now, you know that I absolutely love that side of music most of the time, and in this case, wow, this one hits hard. I'm very fond of the grit that this one tries to really contribute. This kind of gritty sounds that's delivered from this song. It's not overly expressive, but it absolutely just hits for a song within this genre, I think. It's this kind of pop rock blend that could be very, very soft, but here I find them to actually bump up the drive a little bit and really make sure that this chorus hits hard. Her expressive vocals is, of course, a big part of that as well. I think this song just ticks every box of what it wants to be and what it's set out to do. It wants to be a bit more edgy and gritty than your normal pop rock tune, and I think they absolutely nailed that concept. It's a strikingly memorable chorus. The vocal performance is strong and convincing. It's just the perfect pop rock crossover to me, and it's definitely A, and it's top of A tier for me. Next up, Don't Cha by Busta Rhymes and the Pussycat Dolls, and this is of course quite the classic. I'm not sure what your opinion on it is. I think I could be open to having every opinion on the spectrum here to this song. Personally, I do quite enjoy this song. I think it's a fun tune. I mean, it has an assertive energy to it. It's a fun listen altogether. The hook, I think, really utilizes this attitude that the song wants to have very well. There are fun details and sound inputs throughout the song with the brass, and the percussion comes along nicely. Even though it's very repetitive at its core and gets quite tiresome, I do think the fun ideas just kind of lift it up a little bit. It's quite a forceful beat in this track as well that just pushes the song forward, and I do really like the attitude of it. I think it's a B, quite a strong B for this one actually. And I'm sure that the Pussycat Dolls here will be back in, could it be even next video, when I have to talk about Buttons, which, spoiler alert, is going to be another positive review from my side, but I'll have to wait for that one, I guess, until that one shows up, because I'm sure it's also very highly charted. Next up, it's even more 50 Cent. This is Candy Shop. I suppose 50 Cent dropped a big album this year, and that's why all of these songs are on here. Candy Shop, probably the most famous of the 50 Cent songs that I've talked about today, and I guess I understand why. It's absolutely, I guess, iconic in a way. I mean, if you grew up during these years, like if you were alive in 2005, I'm sure you've heard this song approximately 1,000 times, maybe even more. But it's just because I guess it was that much of an earworm, I suppose. I do think that this one has some strong aspects to it. I think this kind of Middle Eastern influence that it has on the strings really makes the song stand out quite well. It's a famously catchy hook, of course, with, I mean, overly on-the-nose metaphors, which, you know, you could have whatever opinion you want to regarding that. It is altogether quite a silly song. It like, I can't take it seriously at all, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be taken seriously. Probably not. The concept is absolutely understandable about this song. I don't get that much enjoyment out of it, but I understand if someone does. I think it's a D kind of song. It's more catchy, of course, than I've already forgotten. Was it called How We Do or something like that? But I would probably rather put on Beverly Hills actually. But yeah, it's a D for Candy Shop there. And I move from Candy Shop to Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Now this is a hit in my book. Obviously, you know me, alt rock, pop rock, rock in general. It's up my alley. And Boulevard of Broken Dreams is stunning in my opinion. It's a sublime arrangement, really. Strong guitar work. Love this kind of delay that they play around with a lot in this song. It's simple at its core. It's a simple song, but it just flows so well. The flow throughout the track is really impressively executed, I'd say. Everything comes together nicely. The soundscape that they try to really establish in the song is beautiful. It presents isolation and a lot of emotional depth in an effective manner. I think that's very poignant. Instrumentation strong. It's highlighted by a very balanced mix as well. Well sung, of course, and yeah, structurally it just progresses wonderfully. I think it's a very compelling A tune, probably even top of A. Yeah. I don't really see it as an S tier song. I don't particularly know why, but it doesn't have that replayability to me at least, like a Mr. Brightside does. But it's still a very, very strong A for this song. And now next up is a hook that's tons of fun. It's Gold Digger by Kanye West and Jamie Foxx, and yeah, it's just fun. It's dumb but fun. There's a neat kind of combination of the different vocal inputs, of course, that work really nicely in the song, I think, especially during the choruses. It's a really fun concept altogether. I think this beat that it has provides a very effective layer in the track as well. I think Kanye's verses really in this song, they're memorable mainly, and also entertaining, I'd say. It's a silly track and it relies a lot on repetition, which does get a bit tiresome, and you kind of feel like they didn't really have anything else going for it in the song. But what they have is entertaining, and yeah, it's an engaging hook, and it's definitely a B. I wouldn't place it any lower than that, but I also don't think I could justify placing it any higher than that. Very fun listen, solid B for Gold Digger there. And next up is Ciara again, who I talked quite negatively about in either yesterday's video or maybe 2 videos ago. I don't remember. This is Ciara with Missy Elliott. The song is called 1-2 Step. And again, it's a lot of weird sound effects going on in this song. Not as distracting as the ones from what was called Goodies, I think. The kind of like the acidic synth work in this song is quite quirky, and that could absolutely be a positive thing. I think they've been a bit creative with this one. Still, it's I'd say the song is high in energy but low in enjoyment, at least for me. I think the hook is somewhat catchy, but still, as the song comes together, I'd rather just not listen to it, and I'd rather put on something else, because I think there are distracting sound effects in it. Even though the hook might be catchy, overall the song doesn't really flow that naturally to me. I don't think the production is particularly convincing. It's I get that there's an audience for it, but again, I'm not that audience. It's very much kind of a repeat of the Pon de Replay and the Lose Control here, I suppose. I'll just place it in the middle of them. Whatever. I don't enjoy it. Sorry. Next up is Kelly Clarkson again. This is Since You've Been Gone. And I think this one is maybe more so the kind of pop rock crossover that I expect. It feels a bit more predictable than Behind These Hazel Eyes. I think it's less dramatic. It's more accessible, I would say. And I mean, still, it has convincing vocals. It has neat guitar work in here. But it does sound a bit formulaic in both structure and flow, I'd say. I don't think the mixing impresses that much, really. It's still effective. Like, I get the song melodically, it works. She's good again. Like, Kelly Clarkson is definitely delivering in these songs, but I don't get as much enjoyment out of this one as I did with Behind These Hazel Eyes. It feels more accessible and it feels more predictable, I suppose. It's still a B, I would say. I'm placing it top of the B, actually, because I think it's more convincing as a professional package than the other two here. Maybe less fun, but still, yeah, B tier for Kelly there. And I think she will actually get some company here from Mario as well. Anyone remember Mario? I don't, but I do absolutely remember Let Me Love You, his huge hit from this year, which is understandably a huge hit. What a nice flow to this track. It's a very sweet tune, smooth backdrop to this one. The mellow production really works here. The vocal delivery is really pleasant. The hook is catchy, and just has a decent flow throughout. It's a very well executed pop song without much around it, I suppose. It just hits, it kind of ticks every box and just ensures that you have a good time listening to it. And it's absolutely foot tap inducing, and it's a strong B. It's probably top of B, actually. Yeah, fits perfectly in there, in my opinion. They will not get more company now, because Hollaback Girl is up next by Gwen Stefani, and I do have quite a bit of respect for Gwen Stefani in many aspects. But when I listen to a song like Hollaback Girl, I realize how awful she also was able to be at one point. Because this is one of the... No, it's not one of the worst songs I've heard. There are far worse. This one stands out. It's memorable. But it's an incredibly frustrating listen that I get absolutely zero enjoyment out of. It's excessive amounts of shouting in the song, no finesse throughout it. I understand that it could be a fun concept for some. It's an awful experience for me. It's a clear, very crystal clear F tier song for me. There's the whole banana segment as well that's supposed to be funny. I don't know. It's a chore for me to listen to. So no, that's the most clear F of today's video. The less I say, the better, I suppose. And the more I say, the better about We Belong Together by Mariah Carey, or Mariah Carey if you're Spanish speaking. But what a tune this one is. Absolutely. This is just very kind of much like a showcase for Mariah Carey, which she has a lot of those songs, of course. But this one has something special in it. It's a very various vocal delivery that really showcases her whole repertoire, I'd say. She feels very versatile and dynamic in this performance, which I think is really impressive and enhances this song quite massively. There's a sweet balance in this song as well of being providing something really mellow and something that's actually quite high in energy. Because I do think this song is quite engaging while also being very laid back. It's a fine balance, but I think this one manages to nail that quite well. Melodically, I think these choruses in this song are so rewarding. They just hit instantly. I think there may be a few setbacks in terms of the production area on this song. That's probably the only area, really. I do think that the percussion of this song, it sounds a bit strange. Like, I don't know if they were, what do you say, intentionally going for something odd and specific in this regard, because the percussion is very sharp in this track. It's a bit distracting, I gotta be honest, and even though the song is just beautifully well flowing and everything works with it, that aspect of it just holds back my enjoyment slightly. It's not a song that I just put on the headphones and really get lost in, because I do think that these aspects are somewhat distracting. However, compositionally, I think it's stunning. It's absolutely an A-tier song. I'll place it in the middle of the A tier. And now when I look at the tier list, it wasn't actually that bad. There are 10 songs in the top 3 categories, which is absolutely a decent score. I didn't even realize. So yeah, good year, has to be said. A lot of songs that I don't particularly enjoy, particularly the songs in E and F. And the 3 songs in D are not really up my alley either. But overall, I'm fond of this year. I gotta say, it was quite a nice one to get through, and hopefully 2006 will be just the same. I hope that you will join me for that video as well. Until then though, please share your thoughts on the songs that I've talked about today, and take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye bye.